What's going on, everybody out there? Welcome to Gamers with Games. So today I'm going to be talking about Fallout 4. Now there's a lot of talk about this game being the 2015 Game of the Year, but is it really that per se? Is it better than most of the other games that have come out this year so far? So let's dive right into it. Now, speaking as someone that has spent a lot of time playing Fallout 4, I helped write the guide for Fallout 4 on IGN right now. You could go to the IGN wikis and actually check out most of the stuff that's on there right now. But spending a lot of time with the game, I have a strong feeling that the game is very good in of its own right. It does a lot of ambitious things with a lot of the world in which you could explore, a lot of the different enemies and the types of people and characters that you come into contact with during your time with the game. However, it is still not my 2015 Game of the Year. Reason being is because there's a myriad of other problems that help kind of bring it back and hold back the experience overall. Now, let's be real for a second. Bethesda builds very, very huge games. That's one of the excuses that a lot of people kind of give a pass for the entire Fallout series, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and including Fallout 4. You know, to kind of give an excuse to a lot of the bugs, the glitches, and shortcomings of the games itself. And this one seems to be the case with Fallout 4. In my experience playing the game over I lost count at some point. I haven't even checked my game time. I have to be well over 50-something hours with the game alone. I know some people have spent a lot more time here and there, especially doing a lot of the menial side quests and stuff, but I was a little bit much more focused in my playthrough of Fallout 4 and experiencing all the different things, including going back to previous saves, which, again, you gotta account for that lost time, in order to kind of experience a lot of the different branching paths that you have with some of the quests with the different factions in the game. But with that being said though, throughout my entire time playing the game, I experienced a lot of different bugs, glitches, and kind of weird stuff happening in the world of Fallout 4. The world that you explore in this land that you're kind of thrown into is based off of Boston, Massachusetts, and is called the Commonwealth. It's this huge area that you could explore in a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland after a great war that happens in the Fallout universe. Basically, somebody detonated a nuclear weapon or detonated a bunch of nuclear weapons and the whole world has gone to crap. With that being said though, there's a bunch of different areas you could go to that have different factions, different characters, different types of people and creatures that you could kind of interact with and do different quests and kind of get into fights and such. And this huge story unfolds that's based off of your experience before the actual war and before the events that happen to the world, as well as also trying to find your son as a person. Now, this could be both. You could be either male or female. You could actually get to choose your gender and kind of customize your character at the very beginning of the game, much like other Fallout games. But this one I feel has a little bit much more of a personable story that you connect with more so than the other games, because not only do you experience the events kind of in one cohesive manner of what happens to your family, quote unquote. Again, I'm trying to avoid a little bit of spoilers here, of what happens throughout the course of your time spent in the Commonwealth, but also there's a lot of different things that happen that are different twists, different types of backstabbings, different types of things that you thought were one way, but are actually completely different when you discover them. So again, not trying to get into spoilers and such, because I know there's still probably some people that haven't gotten that far in the game or haven't even played the game per se, but there's a lot of stuff to explore and a lot of stuff to take in with this game. But with that being said, again, I go back to a lot of the bugs and glitches and a lot of the shortcomings I have with this game. One of my biggest problems, besides the glitches and the bugs and all the other weird stuff that I experienced, was that this story, even though it's a little more personable than the previous Fallout titles, I don't have a necessarily huge connection with either myself as the character, the actual sole survivor, and the family, as well as any of the events that really take place during the course of my adventure. There's a lot of characters that I interacted with, including Nick Valentine, Piper, Codsworth, Dogmeat, the dog that everybody made a big deal about during E3 and such. There's all these cool, neat little things that happen to all these characters, but I never really felt that strong connection and really took a lot of stuff to heart during my time spent with them. Again, there's a huge bunch of plot stuff that happens towards the later end of my actual playthrough of the game. And even though there was some sort of emotional weight that came behind it, again, it wasn't so much for that it really stuck with me and really stood out to me and really gave me that moment to reflect on it. It really gave me that moment to really take in everything and really be like, oh, this is an awesome experience. This was an awesome story I was playing, an awesome game for this year. The game is great in of its own right. Again, exploring all the areas of the Commonwealth, exploring all the different types of enemies you could fight, the Raiders, the Super Mutants, the Death Claws. There's a bunch of different types of varying enemies enemies or varying versions of enemies that are like huge enemies that you run into that are considered legendary. They have a big star next to their name, and if you kill them, besides them being like super strong and stuff, if you kill them, you get special weapons, special armor, special items that are related to quests and such. That's really cool in and of itself. But again, there isn't a lot of emotional ties and emotional connection to what goes on with a lot of this stuff. Again, they have emotional weight, they have a lot of stuff coming behind them, in relation to the story, and they are significant in some way. But for me as a player, I'm not really getting so much out of it. Again, I really don't understand how a lot of people could really give this game a pass as being the best game of the year when we had so many other better games that happened in 2015, because basically of this huge world that you're thrown into and all the stuff you can explore. That's cool and everything, and a huge world to get immersed in is awesome. But if there isn't really no kind of like connection to what you're doing, and there really isn't no kind of like significance and kind of like, really big value to what you're doing in the story or the types of stuff you're doing in quests and such, then it really doesn't matter how big the world that you explore is in. Now, again, there's all these weapons that you could get, a huge array of weapons that you could even customize, modify to make them stronger or give them different abilities and effects. The character customization as far as leveling up is really awesome. Some people like it a little bit better than Fallout 4 or Fallout New Vegas. Some people don't. I kind of fall a little bit in between. I think it's very cool where you have the ability to kind of choose whatever perks that you want with the different points that you get every time you level up. I do feel that at some points of the game there is a really drastic slowdown in how you level up, and you have to grind a little bit more. But at the same time, I was kind of comparing my experiences to other people in the industry that have played it for an extensive amount of time, and I was ended up getting to a specific point a lot quicker than others have, especially with some of the quests that I was doing. There were moments in time where I would go into this huge amount of quests where it was just related to the main story, and I would advance so far, and I would get towards the end of the actual main campaign or the main quest line, and there's other people that have played just as much, if not more than me, that still have not completed the game yet because they either haven't discovered the quest that you need to do, or they've gotten so sidetracked on some of the side quests that you think are significant, but they're actually not. So there's a lot of wide range there to kind of get a certain type of experience when playing Fallout 4. But overall, what do I think of the game? Do I think it's the best game of the year? No. I think that it's really good. It's one of the best games of this year, but it's not the best game of this year. It's definitely not the best game of 2015, but it's still significant for those that are RPG lovers. If you've played the previous Fallout games, you'll definitely get a lot of enjoyment out of this. There's a lot of changes that you have to soak in when you first go into it. You have to be mindful of the bugs and the glitches. Again, I keep going back to this because there were some crazy ones that I experienced. There was one where I experienced a floating cow in one of the houses when I went to go talk to, Preston Garvey, who's one of the guys that you talk to for a quest line for the Minutemen. I went to go talk to him, and he was lying on this bed. All of a sudden, I walk into the room, and I see this cow just floating above. And now the cow, in of itself, is in the animation. Like if it was on the ground just grazing or whatever, and it would just like hang in there. And every time it would move, it would just kind of like, pseudo float and spin around. It was really weird and really dumb. I posted a picture of it on Twitter. If you guys want to check it out, go to my Twitter, go to some of my pictures, you'll see it. It's like really funny and really awkward and such. But then there was other glitches where I would fight a boss. There's this giant Superman boss called Swan that appears out of a lake someplace. And when I went to it, he came out of the lake and stuff, and we got into a fight. He was chasing me around this area, and all of a sudden he gets stuck in a tree while I'm trying to run around, and all of a sudden he starts levitating above the tree and just starts hanging there and is stuck in an animation where he's sitting there in the tree, and I just completely just gunned him down while looking up from below. It was completely just batshit insane and just out of left field, and stuff like that is completely inexcusable to me. A lot of people tend to give those a pass, again, because of the big world and such, or because they say they're playing the game on the PC where the mods and the different types of updates will take care of that. To me, I think that's kind of unexcusable. If you're gonna kind of, crucify other games that are released throughout the year, especially console games like that have those same type of problems and such, you should definitely still look at Fallout 4 the same way, because that's completely inexcusable. Why is there flying cows in my game if there's not supposed to be flying cows, especially if there's no quest to it? If there was a quest to it, that'd be totally funny, and I'd be totally down with that, but this is just completely out of the blue and completely random. There are even issues where there's certain quests where I was actually completed them, and the items that I was supposed to get either didn't spawn, glitched out, completely spawned in other locations, didn't appear in my inventory. There's stuff like that that happens, so you have to be mindful of that, all of that, and know exactly what you're getting into. But that's just my opinion about Fallout 4, guys. Hopefully it was an informative review for all of you. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you guys think of Fallout 4. Tell me if you guys think it's one of your favorite games of the year or not. And I will talk to you guys real soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.